In my last video, we discussed the obscure and controversial history of the Serenity Prayer. In this video, we're going to discuss the application of the Serenity Prayer and how to achieve its intended results. Hey everybody, and welcome to Position Recovery. This is Jeremy with Position Studios. If this is your first time here, please consider subscribing to this channel and don't forget to enable notifications and click the bell icon and select all from the menu. Also, if you appreciate the content that I provide and you think I do a good job, please share this video on social media, give the video a thumbs up, and most importantly, connecting and engaging with others in the comments section helps to promote an active online recovery community. And with that, let's get right to it. All right, so guys, hope you enjoyed the last video. If you haven't watched the previous video, we discussed the history of the Serenity Prayer. I would really encourage you to go watch that video and then come back because it's really interesting how this all works together. And so today we're going to discuss 5 things that the Serenity Prayer is designed to produce in you and me and them, all of us. So the number one thing, you guys all probably can guess it. All right, yeah, you got it. Serenity. So serenity, I looked up serenity and it gives us these words. It says peace, tranquility, quietness. So let's think about this, guys. When we look at the prayer, so let me recite that first portion. And for those of you that haven't watched the history one, go back and watch it because I'm going to be using the original prayer. It says, "God give us grace to accept with serenity the things that cannot be changed." In this prayer, it's saying, God grant or God give us grace to accept with serenity the things that I can't change or the things that cannot be changed. It's interesting here when we look at the word serenity, because it's not saying, God grant me the ability to accept what I can't change. That's not what it's saying. It's saying, give me the serenity, give me peace, give me tranquility in light of me having absolutely no control over this situation. Give me the peace to accept this. So that's the number one thing that that the prayer is designed to produce in us. Number 2, and you probably can guess this one as well. Courage. The ability to do something that frightens one is one definition, and also strength in the face of pain or grief. So I think both of these certainly apply in the recovery element, in the recovery environment. The ability to do something that frightens us. It is frightening to do things. Let's put it in light of this. A lot of us, when we get out of our addiction, we're afraid to tackle life because we don't have courage. We're afraid. So the prayer is designed we're asking for courage to deal with our situations, people, places, and things. First, we have peace. Then we're asking for courage. We're asking for peace and we're asking for courage. Number 3, you all probably guessed it. Yeah, all right, you guys guessed it. It's wisdom. So let's look at, I did 2 word studies. I looked up the word wisdom in just the regular dictionary, and one of the best definitions that I could find was this one. It says, the soundness of an action or decision with regard to the application of experience, knowledge, and good judgment. That's a great definition. It's probably what we would expect. Now, I also went to James chapter 1, verse 5, and I know that the word wisdom is in that passage. I'll read the passage in just a moment, but I would like to read the definition of the word wisdom there in the Greek. Now, what's really cool is if your name is Sophia out there, that is the Greek word, Sophia, just like the name. Sophia is skill in management of affairs. Now in the Greek, when I looked it up, there's actually a big long list of definitions and it's a very comprehensive word. But I picked this particular portion of the definition because it really brings together kind of like what this would mean for the addict, right? Or the alcoholic, or those that are trying to better ourselves through recovery. Because we learned that we were powerless over addiction and our lives had become unmanageable, right? Well, so wisdom, along with this prayer, when we achieve wisdom in our recovery, to have the ability, to have the skill to manage one's affairs. And so I'll put a link to some of the resources that I used in the video. The Greek word I got out of, I think off of a website. So I'll provide that. It's a Greek lexicon website there. So really excited about how this developed and how I was able to get these, to expand on these. Now let's look at James 1:5, because this is really interesting. If you need wisdom, ask our generous God and he will give it to you. He will not rebuke you for asking. For those of you that are, that your higher power is the same as my higher power and it's Jesus Christ, then James 1:5 is going to be something that's going to be really powerful for us today. Now, I have two more, so that exhausts the basic first stanza of the Serenity prayer. So I'm going to go ahead and read the rest of the Serenity prayer, and then I'm going to get to the last two, number 4 and 5 of the things that are intended to be a result of the Serenity prayer. Here we go. Living one day at a time, enjoying one moment at a time, accepting hardship as a pathway to peace, taking as Jesus did this sinful world as it is, not as I would have it, trusting that you will make all things right if I surrender to your will, so that I may be reasonably happy in this life and supremely happy with you forever in the next. Okay, so these next two are really kind of a response to this entire thing. Live in the moment, be here for today, taking as Jesus did. Jesus didn't come here and try to change the world by like making and forcing things. He really tried to influence things, influence people, and he caused healing and he did things like that. But he didn't come here with a scepter and hit it on the ground and like just make the world a better place or do things. He came to the world. The world rejected him. He received the world just as it is, right? And then it says, taking as Jesus did the sinful world as it is, not as I would have it. Trusting, so now we have trusting that he will make, or trusting that you, we're talking to him, will make all things right if I surrender. So there's an if to his then. If I surrender to his will, then I can receive, or I will achieve the results that we're talking about from the Serenity prayer. A lot of this is a mindset that the prayer is intended to do in us. And at the same time, we are praying to a who. And we're praying to the Lord God, and we're asking him to do in us what we can't do for ourselves. So, number 4 is freedom from expectations we set on others. Now, let me clarify what I mean by that. And there's 2 things that I have for this. The freedom from the need or desire to set expectations. This one's a very difficult one to achieve, but with practice and with some conscious effort that we do this, especially us married folks, we have got to learn how to do this. This is going to help us in the end, probably more than it's going to help the other person. Also, freedom from responding negatively to those who don't meet our expectations when we have mistakenly set them. And so I'll go through, well, that was number 4. So that was 4, again, freedom from expectations that we set on other people, which brings us to number 5. And you can probably figure out based on what 4 was, what number 5 will be, which is freedom from expectations others set on us. I have a few caveats I want to put on this. And so I have 4 bullet points on this. So freedom from living in condemnation when we fail to perform the expectations of others. 2, this is not intended to clear us from legitimate responsibilities like fidelity with our relationship with our spouse, our job, or our promises to our kids. But rather, it's to clear our minds from the crippling effects of guilt in the moment. And then 3, we need to learn how to recognize when we fail legitimate responsibilities and how to set those aside to deal with them in their time without letting it freeze us in our tracks. So what that means is B and C, or the last 2 that I just went through, are really connected together. And what that means is, hey, I failed a responsibility. I was responsible for this and I failed that. And I'm not trying to use this prayer to remove my responsibility from that or to just, cover it up. But it's to say, hey, I recognize maybe I'm at work and I realize, oh boy, I told my daughter that I was going to do this today, or I said I was going to call my wife at this time and I didn't do that. And maybe I'm at work and I can't actually go do that because my lunch break is over. Well, instead of me being crippled by that and I can't work for the rest of the day, or it's on me and maybe I start taking out on my coworkers, what this means is we're going to receive the Lord's peace and we're going to move through our day and we're going to own our failure to our responsibility. And we're gonna release ourselves from that expectation. And so the last thing I want to say on this is we need to learn how to recognize when others have placed illegitimate expectations on us, and we must let go of negative thoughts and emotions associated with our not meeting those expectations. It's extremely important that we do not hold ourselves accountable to unreasonable or false or bad expectations that should have never been set. We can address that and we don't need to feel guilty about that. Now, I guess as I think about this, as I'm saying it, it might be difficult for some of us to know, or maybe we don't know which expectations are reasonable or not. And see, that is the number one reason. Well, there's a million reasons about what I'm going to say here, but this is one of the massive reasons why we need to be connected to others. We need to have accountability partners. We need to have a sponsor, somebody with wisdom, a lot of wisdom, not just in recovery, but wisdom in life. That's why pastors are really good. Even pastors that haven't dealt with a lot of stuff, they have certainly counseled with a lot of people and they are there as a spiritual advisor. So they don't have to necessarily have walked our road with us to know what the right way is. So that's the 5 things, guys. That's 5 things. 5 things that the Serenity Prayer is designed to do in us. And that is, number 1, give us serenity. Number 2, it gives us courage. Number 3, gives us wisdom. Wisdom is awesome. We should really want wisdom. Number 4, it frees us from the expectations that we set on others, or it frees us from setting expectation on others. And then finally, number 5, freedom from the expectations that others set on us. And we clarify that with false or wrong expectations. So without really anything else to say here, guys, that's going to do it for this video. I really thank you guys for joining me. And without anything else to say, remember, many are called, but you are positioned.